Let's just get straight into this. Right now, I'm going to explain the hypocrisy which I've been seeing consistently throughout this season, and even last season and seasons before. Now, in this video, I will in no way put my opinion on whether support or DPS is the easiest. I have my own opinions on that topic too. I'm not going to express them right now. I'm just going to explain the hypocrisy of the top 10 or the top 20 Marvel Rivals players in the entire world on the leaderboard right now and seasons past. Right now, let me set the stage. There was one person that mostly played support, which had 5 or 6 accounts in the top 10. Now, everyone said, well, that proves that support is just way too easy to play. It's way overtuned, way overpowered. Now, while some supports do need to be tuned down a bit, that is the sentiment that was going on from a large amount of the player base. Now, that person's account, all of them except for one, which was their main account, got demoted out of the top 10. New people went up, and they were also support players. Last time I looked, there was maybe 1 or 2 tank mains in the top 10, maybe 1 DPS, and then it's mostly tank DPS after the top 10, but still a lot of support mains. And a lot of people still said, oh look, the top 10 is still filled with support mains. That means support is severely overtuned, overpowered, and people who play them aren't actually skilled. Now, if you look at previous seasons where in the top 10 the majority was either tanks or DPS, you wouldn't be hearing that same sentiment. You wouldn't hear, oh, tanks are in the top 10 mostly because they're so easy and brain dead. Oh, DPS mostly fill in the top 10 because they're so easy and brain dead. They say that because of the OP characters, which they call them, and Invis and Gambit just running the lobbies, and Loki who benefits off of their strengths, which is their ult, mostly. And so they say, okay, powerful supports, which everyone's playing up here. I mean, that's why all these support players in the top 10, they're just playing extremely broken characters. But let me just state this. Just taking DPS as an example, because this is mostly DPS versus support problem. Some tank mains do put their opinions into it, but you know, that's a whole different topic I may touch on this video. But reversing it onto DPS, what about Hella Hawkeye? Hawkeye's gotten 16 buffs, Hella 12. What about Bucky? He's been meta since season 0. He counters Loki, who people say is the top 3 support in the game right now. So why doesn't it apply to DPS too? Whenever DPS was majority top 10, why were they now called, okay, that's why DPS are the most skilled in the game, even though they had all these powerful characters? But now when supports are in the top 10, people are like, okay, they're super boosted, overpowered, no skill because of all these powerful supports. But when you bring it up, and I brought it up to other people, they just say it's a support problem still. I bet on this video right now, people are still gonna say, because support is way easier than DPS. That's the main argument, but you cannot have both at the same time. You cannot have, okay, supports are in the top 10 mostly right now because of all the strong characters in the role, but also say in previous seasons, DPS, who had extremely strong characters across the board, borderline broken for some seasons, that, you know, that's just pure skill. Not any character input, they're just better. And I just see this as giant hypocrisy. Nobody can admit their faults. Nobody in this community, and this is for Marvel Rivals community in total, especially in my opinion, DPS, they just can't admit their faults. Even in my videos, my recent one, as of recording this with a mag that had triple the deaths as everyone, blaming supports, I showed multiple examples of how his positioning was horrible. He's going behind barriers, not taking any good cover, not going in any supports line of vision. He was telling us to hit Q when it was a 2v6, and on and on and on, and he blames supports. Now, instead of, you know, someone agreeing with that and saying, okay, if one person has triple the deaths as everyone else, it's, you know, their fault for that match. As much as they want to blame supports, they're the ones who are the outlier in that whole video, in the whole match. But I had to have a DPS main in my comments say, well, it's my fault for not healing him. I'm pretty sure he said purposely not heal him, which I never said in my video I did that. I actually, you know, try to keep him alive. Even in the scene where, you know, he was hiding behind a wall, I tried my best to heal him. Later in that video, I even put my shield on him to save him from a life-threatening hit, ultimately endangering myself to put my own cooldown on Invis out. Because if you don't know, you need to recall the shield, and you need to wait for how long the shield needs to heal. If it's broken, I think it's 5 seconds where you need to wait. Now you can just right click on people and it doesn't need to charge. It'll stay, let's say 250 down to 100. It'll stay at 100 as many times as you pass around, but if you recall it by hitting F, it recharges and you need to hit F again to put it on yourself. So I was in that little stage right there. My shield broke because I saved his life, and then the Punisher turret was hitting the backline. I tried backing up as much as I could, but it barely got me and killed me. So I used my cooldowns to save him. I went out and risked my life to save him, but someone said, nope, it's a support's fault. Previous videos before that too, a Doctor Strange blamed supports. He portaled teammates off the map, tried to 1v2 an ulting Punisher with a rocket, pocketing him. Again, in the comments, people are saying, nope, you are wrong. That Doctor Strange was right. Another video of mine, a streamer I played with, he and his friend, both of them playing DPS into, triple DPS again. We only had one tank and 2 supports. Now, you can watch that video, but just to recap, he blames supports the entire game, says we were slow, pretty much saying we are bad and this game is cooked. And I showed every time he complained about heals and what me and the other support were doing. And now he, as Moon Knight, tried to jump into the enemy backline right in front of the enemy tanks and got obliterated, then blamed supports. And his friend, in my opinion, was even worse. He was a Punisher. It was the Hydra map where the map shifts left or right and where the side of the map opens up at 50% on the main objective. He was above our team on that little ledge on his turret trying to hit the backline, missed every shot, got obliterated, and then blamed supports for not healing him when we had no line of sight. Later on, he blamed my runes for being super late and that I suck. But I showed in my video, the runes just came off cooldown and I pressed it and I was spamming shift as soon as it went off cooldown. But he will never admit his fault. All these people will never admit their fault because people these days just have an ideology which is just hypocritical. They can never go against their own role. They can never go against their content creator. If a content creator says this character is F tier, D tier, they'll believe that. If someone says this character is impossible to kill, this all, is immortal, one person says that and it's a big creator, that will spread. It's kind of like this hive mind mentality where you don't care if it's hypocritical of you to say, you just have to believe it because what else do you have? What else do you have to believe in? Because you don't have your own opinions, you just believe in other people's opinions and you don't double check them with anything. There's a difference between having some opinions with big creators, like I do, like I made a video with Flats and a lot of things I agreed with him on. The core premise, I agreed with him on flat nerfs across the board. Now, I know a lot of people will now be adapting that same mindset of his, where his and mine main ideology is flat nerfs, but our core difference is he wants giant nerfs for everybody. I want small nerfs. You can see that in my video about my season 6 patch notes. A lot of people, even some characters which people say don't need nerfs, I still nerfed slightly. Because if you nerf a bunch of tanks, Iron Fist or Wolverine will rise up to become hard meta. And you can apply this to any other matchup. And so, we don't agree on everything. While we agree with the same premise, our solutions are completely different. That's the main core. But a lot of people in this community are very hypocritical. They'll believe, okay, I believe this, I believe this. Oh, this new creator I like, okay, they believe this. Okay, I'm taking that in now. Okay, this creator, this creator, this creator. Okay, they're all big creators. I'm gonna take in all these opinions too. I've seen commenters too, and YouTubers making Marvel Rivals content. They say they're a big fan of this channel. And then when you watch that channel and then compare it to their own videos, they make the exact same jokes. Their opinions are the exact same. Now, is there a situation where someone can have the exact same opinions as everyone else? Sure, I guess. But that doesn't really show individuality. Because if their opinions change and your opinions change the exact same thing, in my opinion, and I don't use this word very lightly, mindless. Pretty much a trend hopper, following what's more popular. And these days in Rivals, you'll see most people have the exact same opinions on a lot of things. And if you look closely, those exact same things are believed by the biggest content creators. Think of like Boger, Necros, Flats. I think those are the core right there of the biggest streamers. My favorite, in my opinion, is Jay. I think he's the least toxic out of all of them. That's why I like him the most. I think he does deserve Creator of the Year and not Flats, but that's another hot take of mine. But that's what you should have in this community. Hot takes. You shouldn't be afraid to go against the popular opinion. You shouldn't be afraid to go against the popular streamers. You shouldn't be scared away from hate commenters. You can see that directly in my own videos. I first made a bunch of videos about those hate commenters. My very first Marvel Rivals scripted video, which I don't script it anymore, was why is Dive so strong? That was a while ago. I believe like 6 months ago, 7 months ago. I got hate comments on that video, turned that into reacting to hate comment videos. Because those kind of videos have been very popular while I've been growing up. And right now I'm in my 20s. So I'm not, just in case you were wondering, I'm not still like young. And then on and on after every video where I make my stance, especially on who needs a nerf, nerf, you'll see a lot of people do not agree with me. And I originally turned those all into videos. I still may turn those into videos, but I've kind of phased that content out. While it was popular at first, it's been increasingly less and less popular. Even though I think I've been making more and more higher quality videos in terms of what I'm saying. And what I've learned is you need to speak calmly to people. While there are videos of me kind of ramping up my emotions, sometimes purposefully, and even one video I'm never going to publish, I record after a very bad session of Rivals and was pretty much yelling. But that will not get across to anybody. Insulting people will not go anywhere with people. Now, I do believe you treat others how they treat you, not treat others how you want to be treated. That's the main core difference between me and other people too. And then now what I'm recently doing is replying to the more respectful people. And if someone's slightly disrespectful, I'll be slightly disrespectful back. And some people are actually seeing my view because they misinterpret it and run off with that. Someone said, why are you nerfing Iron Fist? He has a very low pick rate and he's super bad. And I said, well, if I'm going to nerf a lot of tanks, I don't want Iron Fist to be accidentally meta because I don't want any character to be hard meta. If you take out one person and make their whole pretty much prey weak, it's gonna be an easier fight. Another person said, well, I don't get your opinion. You're contradicting yourself. You say you want to nerf people, but those nerfs cause unintentional buffs to others. So you are buffing people. And they ran off with that, being disrespectful. So I just came back. I did one jab like saying, okay, kind of like, do you understand? Like midway through. Now I explained, if weaker characters are an 8, strong characters are a 10, you nerf those strong characters by a 2, they're now on the level of those weaker characters. So while yes, it's kind of a buff, you are lowering the ceiling for the lower, weaker characters to rise up. And people don't realize that. People only see, oh, point blank, I don't like that. I'm not digging any deeper in that. I don't agree with that. You're horrible. I don't like your opinion. You have no good opinions. L after L. You're bad. I don't like you. Blah, blah, blah. It's just like, you got my opinion wrong and are crying about it. Now, let's say there's someone who's asking me a question. Hey, can you clarify on this? I'll answer. I even thought of making one of my comments that was super respectful, that we had a conversation, into a video and showing like, yeah, this is how it should go. But these days, people are so wound up in their own opinions thinking anything different is now a bad opinion. That anything out of the ordinary, anything that's not popular, anything that's not liked by popular content creators, something that's not a trend, anything else is just trash, brain dead opinions. And that's where Marvel Rivals is right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, it would mean a lot. Let me know your opinions, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.